between all of us. And then
Sure.
I just actually directed the last episode, episode 217. So 17 out of the 22 that we.
Oh, wow. So let's go back to that then. How does that, is that something that you say that you're interested in doing? You make that clear, when you're negotiating, whatever it is, or it's something else?
Yes to all that.
Okay, that makes sense.
You definitely throw it out there. I've directed, my last directing was Saved by the Bell, the reboot.
Yeah.
Peacock. That was a comedy. That was a half-hour comedy. I've directed things for Stephen Bochco on a show that I actually wasn't even on. Franklin and Bash was my first thing that I directed. I enjoy directing. I'm enjoying doing Found, though. I'm really enjoying working on Found as an actor. I really enjoyed directing the episode, but I feel that there's sometimes projects that you're like, I want to direct because I'm not being challenged enough.
Mm-hmm.
I need more of a challenge. I need something more to push myself. And on Found, I'm still being pushed so much by this character that I was thankful to direct, but it wasn't something that I did because I was bored.
Well, you've done a lot of comedies, obviously. You've obviously had your fair share in drama also, but when comedies have been something that you are very good at, you've been able to get that time. You said your last thing that you directed was a comedy, but when you mentioned that how much fun you're having on, or I should say that you're really enjoying working on Found, you got to go to a dark place to play Sir. I mean, you really do. And it's from what he's done, who he is, like, how do you kind of tap into that? And this is a question a lot of people, I guess, get sometimes. Some people take it home with them, some people don't. Is it hard not to take it home? Like, what goes into the psyche of Sir for you?
Yeah, it's funny. I wouldn't say that I live in a dark place, but I'm definitely glass half empty.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty cynical in certain things. People who know me well, there's a darkness there, but a fun darkness. I mean, I think dark can be...
it's a serious darkness, as they call you, Mark.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think dark can be good sometimes. It keeps me honest. But obviously I'm not as dark as Sir is. I had a harder time playing Paul. God, what was his last name? Paul Jackson. Gosh, it's so funny how quickly we forget.
Yeah.
But my character on Mixish, I actually had a harder time playing that role, that comedy, than I do on other things. Now, there's definitely a challenge of playing Sir, but generally speaking, I can connect more to dramas than I can with comedies. But Sir is on a whole nother level. I mean, it really is. We get these scripts, and I just look at it and I go, man, we have some sick individuals on our writing staff.
Right.
They point the finger at me and go, oh, you're playing this really twisted character. I'm like, yeah, I didn't write this.
Right.
Somebody else is sitting in a room that wrote this stuff. I'm interpreting what this person wrote.
Yeah.
And there's some darkness over there. But it's definitely fun. I'm really having a good time on this show, and being able to wash it off. Yeah, there's been times we filmed this show in Atlanta.
Okay.
And it takes place in DC, but we filmed it in Atlanta. I live in California, and like Shanola, we basically go back every weekend. I sometimes go back during the week if I'm not working, and we go back to our family. I have two younger kids that I go back for. My two older ones are already in college, and they could care less about me. You know how it goes.
I have a teenager, and so she's already getting that way. Totally.
Yeah. So it's good times, man. Good times. It's all that hard work that you do for them. But anyway, so I go back and forth, and it's a 4-hour flight, and I use that time to decompress and wash my thoughts out, and really use that time to prepare myself for going and walking through that door as dad. I've worked on other projects that aren't as dark but are just as intense, and sometimes I'll come home and my wife will say, that's not the guy that I married.
Right.
I want the guy that I married.
Yeah, because it's tough, because you're in a different person's mind all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
I just want to say, though, to all my wife's friends who said after the first episode of the second season, it must be hard to sleep next to Sir. You're not helping my cause.
100%.
I'm like, why would you say that? My wife's not in the industry.
Right.
She's never been in the industry. She doesn't want to be in the industry. It's what I fell in love with her.
I can relate.
I fell in
I can
love
relate.
with.
Yeah.
And it is hard because my beard, she doesn't really appreciate the beard. I don't even appreciate it. It's a thing for the character.
Right.
The fact that it goes gray and sometimes it's groomed and sometimes it's not. And in that first episode, I mean, I had grown it out.
Yeah, it was gnarly. It was crazy. Yeah, yeah.
And all her friends are like, is Mark Paul letting himself go and all this stuff? And so this character is in helping my intimacy with my wife.
Yeah, it's keeping the bills. It's keeping the bills paid.
Well, that's what I say.
Yeah.
I say to all of her friends, like, hey, listen, we're doing okay right now, so leave me alone.
Yeah, it's the other thing is I was gonna.